Everybody had that one. The answer is 37. Everybody had that one. It is 59. You should have 2 plus 2, which is 4. Square that to get 16. Multiply by 2 to get 32. And then 2 plus 32 plus 4 will give you 38. Pick a number from 1 to 5. The winning number today is 2. Bring your homework up if you have all of it finished. We have a total of 6 people here today, and 6 had their homework, so that's 100%. Here are the answers. First one should be 5n minus 10. If you put a different variable, I'll still count it. Number 2 is 18 over n plus 6. Number 3 is 3 over 1/6 x or minus 3. You could have had x divided by 6 and then minus 3 as well on the bottom. 4, 7x minus x over 3. On number 5, if you have 3 consecutive integers and you add them up, you would have the first one, which you don't know, is x, and then the next one after it has to be 1 higher, so you would put x plus 1, and the next one after that would be x plus 2. You could simplify this even further and have 3x plus 3. That would also be the sum of 3 integers. Number 6, the quotient of x and the difference of the product of 6 and a number and 5. So you have the quotient of, so automatically there's division, and then x is on the top, the and signifies the division, and then you have the difference of on the bottom, the product of 6 and a number and 5. 7, the sum of 2 and the quotient of 100 and a number. 8, the sum of 5 and 1/2 of a number. 9, the sum of 2 and the quotient of 100 and x. And 10 is the sum of the product of a number and the quantity of a number less than 5 and the quotient of 10 and a number. Alright, so in this you can break it up as a sum because you have this there. So you can start off with the sum. I've made an extra mark in there and it looks sloppy. The sum of, and then you have to detail what this is. The sum of the product of a number and the quantity of, I put a 5 instead of f, quantity of a number less than 5. Or you could break that up as a difference. So, and we're not even finished with it yet because remember this is a sum, so you have the sum of, and we're going to have to outline these two parts. This is the first part that we've just outlined. So now the next and is referring back to the sum, so you need the right side. And the quotient of ten and a number. The only other thing in here is that if you have the missing numbers that are all the same, for example, they're all x's, then it's probably a good idea to insert that into your verbal expression. For example, the sum of the quantity of a number x and the quantity of a number x less than 5 and the quotient of 10 and a number x. If you put that in, it makes it uniform all the way across. For number 6, what I would do is I would say the quotient, and I'm going to abbreviate, the quotient of a number x and the quantity of 5 less than the product, abbreviation, of 6 and a number x. On number 7 from the homework, you have a sum, so you should put the sum of to start with, and that signifies this. Now the first thing after it's going to be the first thing that's written. The sum of 2, and signifies, now you're on the right side, the quotient of 100 and a number x. Number 8 from the homework, you have a sum, so let's break it up like number 7. The sum of signifies you're going to have this in the middle. The first thing is what comes up on the left, the sum of 5, and signifies you're now on the right side of it. And there's many different ways you could write that. 1/2 is the same as x over 2, or 1/2 x is the same as x over 2. Or you could just say the sum of 5 and the product, abbreviate, of 1/2 and a number x. There is no one right way to do some of these. Some of these have multiple ways you could write them out. Today's objective, interpret expressions again. It's the same objective as yesterday. So interpret parts of an expression such as terms, factors, and coefficients, and interpret complicated expressions by viewing one or more of their parts as a single entity. Here's example 1. The product of indicates what sign I should put first. Multiplication. And you can always go back and change later on if you find out there's an easier way to write it. So product, there's multiplication. The product of 4 and the sum of a number and 5. So on the right side of this, I have to have the sum of a number and 5. Yeah. The sum of a number and 5. Even though it's not written in here verbally, what markings should I put to indicate the sum of a number and 5 that closes it off and lets you multiply the whole thing by 4? Yeah, we're going to have addition in there. There's 2 other markings we're going to need that close in that addition expression. McDane. Yes, that's right. We can make it a quantity, and what symbols do we use to put around a quantity? Parentheses, yeah. So the sum of a number, x, and 5. How can I rewrite this to drop that multiplication sign, which is confusing with the x we have in the parentheses? How can I rewrite it? Johnson. That's right. So you would just end up with 4 times the quantity x plus 5. You can have parentheses in your expressions even though the word quantity is not said in the expression. What about 5 more than the product of a number and 12? 5 more than means what? Yeah. It's going to be what? It'll be on the end, and what operation is it? Addition. 5 more than the product of a number and 12. How do I write the product of a number and 12? Yeah. 12x is right. So 12x plus 5 would be the solution to that. 3 less than the quantity squared of the sum of 4 and the product of a number and 12. So 3 less than, how do I put that down, Darnell? That's right. So 3 less than the quantity squared. So it's less than a quantity squared. So I write parentheses and then a square. The quantity squared of indicates what's going to be in there. Inside the parentheses we have the sum of this. Bartley. Yeah, the sum of 4 and 2x. Yeah, so it's the quantity squared of 4 plus 2x. Close the quantity and then subtract 3. Or you can say exactly how it's written, 3 less than the quantity squared of the sum of 4 and the product of a number and 2. I want to do what? Yeah, we're going to put the fraction bar down. That's right. So we'll go there. That means the quotient of. And next is the sum of. So that's the first thing. We put it on top. That's a plus. The sum of a number and 3. Now, this and means the rest of it for the bottom. This is referring back to this one. This and referred to the sum. It was immediately with it. The difference of 2 and a number. So x plus 3 on top and 2 minus x on the bottom. Try this one and bring it up. 2 more than means plus 2 on the right. 2 more than a number squared. So x squared plus 2 should be it. 5 more than means you're going to have plus 5 on the right. 5 more than what? The quantity squared. Of means we're now inside. 2 less than is minus 2. And a number. We'll put x in front. On this one, you have to think to yourself, what am I going to take 3 away from to get a negative 2? If I start at some number, and I'm going to knock off 3 and end up down at negative 2, if I add 3 to negative 2, I'll get the answer. So if I go back up 1, it's negative 1. Up another one is 0, and up another one is 1. So it should be C. Try this one. Here's another way to look at these problems. If I'm looking for x, I want to keep x on the left and whatever's with it, move it to the right and change the operation. So instead of plus 6, it's minus 6. Negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7. D. Try this one. So for this one, what number do you multiply by 2 and then add 1 to get 9? Another way to look at it is to move that plus 1 to the right and make it minus 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. Divide 8 by 2 and get 4. So the answer is C. Here's example 3. We have to write a verbal expression for this. Where do I start? Salyers.
2 more than the quantity.
Before quantity, we can't. It's not just 2 more than the quantity. It's 2 more than this multiplied by that. So how would we express that? Yep.
2 more than the product of 3 and 3 quantity.
That's right. Two more than the product of 3 and the quantity squared of 4 less than a number. You couldn't just do it with 2 more than the quantity, because then after that you're stuck. You can't go back and multiply by 3 after the fact. It's got to be 2 more than what all of this represents, since it's multiplied together. So it's got to be 2 more than a product of this 3 and the quantity squared of 4 less than a number. What about this one? Where could I start on this? Darnell.
The sum.
You could do the sum, so we'll do the sum of
Sum of 5.
sum of 5
And the quantity squared. 1 less than a number.
That's right. The sum of 5 and the quantity squared of 1 less than a number. There's another way you could do it. Even though that 5 is on the left, you could still say 5 more than the quantity squared of x, or the difference of x and a number, or of x and 1. I'll get it right eventually. Since the 5, since it's a sum, you can put them on either side. Even though we say we want to keep them all on the right, but since this is addition, you still have the option of putting it on the left. If it's subtraction, you don't have that option. It must be in order. Okay, on this one, you're going to have the quantity squared, and I'm abbreviating to save time, the quantity squared of the sum of 3 and the product of 2 and a number.